Welcome everybody to another Voice of Nick show. We're doing more of our Greek art here, and we're currently on the chapter 3 illustration. We moved back a chapter to number 3. This is Ajax mourning over Achilles. So let's see what we want to do. Eventually we're gonna do a bunch of details for Ajax, but right now I think we'll just get in rough versions of everything. So we can finish this palm tree, I guess, first. Okay. Yeah. So let me get a reference for the palm trees in here. Yeah, we want to make this thicker, I guess. All right. And now we're just going to kind of do the same thing we did for all of for the parts on this first tree, which is just kind of give it those little leaves. Okay. Eventually we're going to want to put some kind of border on this because it's going full bleed to the edges. We don't need to figure that out this second. All right. So we just do more of this. I'm getting used to twisting the actual canvas instead of twisting my iPad, which is a sign that maybe I'm getting a little more used to digital art in general. Because obviously on a real page, you're going to twist the actual paper you're working with. And that's kind of my first instinct, is to just move the iPad, because, you know, on a page you can only have the picture go straight up and down in relation to the way that you drew it. But here we can twist it as much as we want. It seems like it has trouble making marks that are near the edge of the screen. Maybe there's some kind of safeguard that, in case it like changes apps or something by doing that. All right, nice. Now we move on to, I guess the other background elements. Or maybe we should get those foreground boxes in place. Good, yeah, that looks cool. Yeah. I think for the outline, maybe I'll just lower the opacity. I don't think the lines need to be so bright. I guess we'll do it for the same for this. Yeah, I might use a different color for the lines eventually. But for now that works. Okay. Now, let's just get these tables in there. So we should start grouping layers so that we don't get in trouble with like having too much stuff on the layer list. That's the Ajax stuff. What is this? It's just outlines. Delete that. What is this? Is the guide layers. This is some kind of rough sketch. I don't think we needed any. Well, let's group that with the guide layers just in case we want to see what we used to have. And this is background stuff. Just delete this original background. And what's this? That we can delete. Okay, much more organized. That's good. Now, let's do this square thing. Oh, we don't have the bones turned on. Now we can turn the bones back off. And I can't decide if it would be better to do Achilles' helmet sitting on this chair, or maybe his spear like leaning, or just nothing. You know, it could be too much to have something like that. Let's also leave the outlines 100% for now. On Ajax at least. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Why can't I erase anything? Okay, so we're gonna give this the same treatment. I should be able to do this and turn this into an eyedropper. Yeah, that's pretty useful. And it looks like I did use an off-white color for Ajax. I thought I had used just like straight white. So this is their table with the dice game on it. Maybe I'll actually depict the dice in my version. You can't see what they're doing in the original. Maybe I'll make it like a... And I guess like the obvious choice, I suppose, would be Snake Eyes, but I don't think that's gonna sort of portray the fact that it's dice. Let's see. Maybe if you did like 2. Let's search. Okay. When you play dice, I don't really think there's necessarily like a bad roll. Hold on, let's make this smaller. We're just gonna use like... I can't get it to make a circle. Hold on, maybe it's because the bones are in. The bones are not in. Maybe like that. 3 and 1. You can't see it from so high up anyway, but it's a nice little detail. Okay, so that's done. Now we'll add a thing for the chair that Achilles used to sit in. We'll probably move it closer to the center of this zone here. This would go to like here, I guess. Yeah, it's interesting. I talked about it when we were editing this chapter about the death of Achilles, that in a lot of depictions, kind of like if you were asked like, oh, how does Achilles die? Everybody knows Achilles, the Greek warrior, was killed by an arrow to the Achilles tendon. That's like why it was named. The Achilles tendon was named after him. And most people would also, I would also say, that Achilles was killed by Paris, the archer from of the Trojans, and he was in most depictions of the story he was, but in the Posthomerica story and some others, he is killed. The implication with Paris's thing is that the god Apollo has guided his shaft to like hit Achilles exactly where it needs to kill him, which makes sense because it's a very difficult shot. But in Posthomerica story, the way that things go, it's literally Apollo who shoots Achilles. Like Paris does not even have any factor in how he gets killed. So it kind of takes away the agency of the humans in that sense, but it adds a really interesting element where the gods get really upset at Apollo because they're like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, Achilles was doing a great job. Like, we liked him," and they kind of like chastise him, and it adds a great scene for that. But there's an interesting dynamic where, and if you were listening, you can go back and watch the episode where we're editing that chapter. You can hear the parts that I'm talking about. But there's an interesting part where Achilles, literally, he's like winning so well, or he's doing so well in the fight that he is like pushing up against the Trojan gates, and sometimes the gods will intervene. They'll say like, you can't go any further. You got to stop. And Achilles is so like battle crazy that Apollo says you can't go any further, you got to stop, and Achilles says like, you better get out of my way, because if you do not get out of my way, I will also kill you. And that ends up being the reason that Apollo shoots him. It's a really cool chapter, and it's also interesting that the opening parts of Posthomerica almost feel like they're like just getting rid of a lot of the characters from the Iliad. Like in very quick succession, a lot of things happen that shake things up, which is interesting. It's kind of like when you watch a movie that right in the opening sequence, they try to make it clear that it's not going to be like the previous movie. So do we want to do that? I think I like it better with the Samurai Jack style, where it doesn't have an outline, it only has an inside line. Yeah. Okay, so it's gonna bother me, the fact that, see how this is like perfectly, this pencil is kind of like emulating pencils. You can see there's like a irregularity to it. But this that I drew Ajax with is perfectly regular, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna redo his outline really quick. Let's just turn this down. And we'll see how well this works. Put the bones back in. We're probably going to have to fill in a lot of the lines that don't match anymore, because obviously the outline might not match where our new lines are. It's kind of fun doing just tracing my existing drawing. All right, so if we turned off this, that looks good. And I definitely like the scratchier look of the pencil that we're using now. This is an instance where also we probably shouldn't have even bothered changing this yet, but it's just gonna it's gonna nag at me in the back of my mind, so I know I should just do it now. Because we're probably gonna end up redoing all of his lines anyway to conform with whatever we come up with at the end. We're gonna have to clean up some stuff once the outline gets turned off. But for now, we'll just put the lines in. We won't bother deleting stuff. Whenever you turn off the underlayer, it always ends up that there's some aspect that like looks sloppier than it did when the underlayer was on. Why won't this? It wouldn't make a mark. Okay. I think now is the time to take the opportunity to straighten out this square. It was bothering me that his seat was crooked. All right, so are there any marks that we didn't make? No, it's done. Surprisingly, it looks pretty good. I mean, you can never really tell when you're tracing the thing like that if it's gonna feel right. But it worked out. Now we'll fill in any parts that don't match from the previous outline to this one. See, like there's little sections that now are outside the lines. How did I fix this last time? See, it's permanently stuck on eraser mode. I forget how I fixed it. We did something that fixed it though. I think we made a selection, put a paint bucket in it. Oh, it's still screwed up. How did I fix it last time? The way that I really fixed it was that I deleted Photoshop and reinstalled it. Otherwise, I don't know how to fix this thing that it keeps happening. See, it says brush on the top right, but it's stuck doing the eraser instead of the brush. Okay, switch brushes. Nope, that's doing the same thing. Okay. What if we created a new document? It's still erasing. See, it will not draw, it will only erase. What if we just turned off that mode? Hold on a second, let's see if we can. Touch shortcuts, turn off. Rotating the canvas. All right, let's see if this works. What is this reveal touch function? Oh, I don't like that at all. Now see, the touch shortcuts are off, but it's still not fixing it. So stand by. What if we grabbed another color? Nope, it's not working. How could we fix something like this? What about if I use my finger? No. I don't know. It's set to 100% opacity. Every other function we do works properly. Like you can tell there's nothing wrong with the opacity because if we put a paint bucket, it works. And now if I try to paint in here, it's erasing, not drawing. This, you can see up here, this says erase. This says brush. It's switching back to brush, but it's still erasing. There's probably a way to trash the preferences, but I don't know how to do it on iPad. What if we change the size? Still erasing. Well, I suppose then I'll have to try and work on this problem. Maybe I'll have to reinstall Photoshop again. God, that's annoying. I guess I'll just get rid of the stupid touch functions thing because it's obviously not a good idea to use that if it's gonna keep ruining my pictures. But for now, we got some stuff. So we have the full palm tree. We redid Ajax's outline and straightened out his chair, which was bothering me. We added in the other pieces from the scene. And now we have to put in Ajax's helmet and shield and stuff. And that's it. Thanks for joining, ladies and gents. I'll probably be, once again, uninstalling and reinstalling Photoshop, which is a real pain because we have to set up a bunch of things every time. But